this video, I am going to show you how to use fraction circles to teach students the concept of fractions as parts of a whole. It is a wonderful way to build conceptual understanding before students move to abstract fraction operations. The big idea behind this lesson is to connect fractions to something familiar, a 24-hour day. By modeling how we spend our time, students begin to see fractions in real-life contexts. This lesson supports standard 3NF-A1. Students will understand that a fraction represents a part of a whole and that the size of each part depends on how many equal parts the whole is divided into. This connects beautifully with SMP 2, reason abstractly and quantitatively, as well as SMP 4, model with mathematics, and SMP 5, use appropriate tools strategically. This lesson comes from the resource Hands-On Teaching for Using Manipulatives by Carol Thornton and Gail Lowe. I like to start by helping students connect the manipulative to something meaningful. So here I will tell them this circle represents a whole day, 24 hours. Then I'll remind them that just like a pizza can be divided into equal slices, we can divide our day into equal parts. This analogy helps make fractions less abstract for our younger learners. At this point, I would introduce the pieces, so halves, fourths, thirds, and even eighths. And then I would guide students in noticing that all the pieces within a set are equal. This builds their foundational understanding of equal parts and sets the stage for later operations with fractions. So, to begin, model a simple, familiar concept, which is sleep. Most students know that we sleep about half of the day. So, I hold up the half circle piece and say, this shows half of the day, 12 hours out of 24. As I model, I use think alouds, like when I see this piece cover half the whole circle, I can visualize what a half means. Encouraging students to verbalize their thinking helps them connect the model to real quantities. So you can pause and ask open-ended questions such as, what would happen if we slept for more than half the day? And you can kind of prompt, reasoning and discussion with that. Another example you could use is the time they spend at school. So next you could introduce the idea of school time, which is about 1/3 of the day. This transition helps students compare fractions with different denominators. So I'll say something like, this 1/3 piece represents school. How does 1/3 compare to 1/2? At this point, I'm going to emphasize vocabulary, numerator, denominator, and equal parts. Visual comparisons allow students to see that 1/3 is smaller than 1/2. This reinforces the meaning of denominators. When I physically place the third next to the half, students immediately notice the size difference. These visual comparisons are powerful for conceptual understanding. So for more examples, I am going to continue by adding smaller parts like playtime, which could take about 1/4 of the day. I explain that this piece shows 6 hours out of 24, and I ask the students to compare. Is 1/4 more or less than 1/3? This reinforces fraction comparison, which is key in grades 2 and 3. You can also discuss how 4/4 would make a whole to review equivalent fractions. And then finally, I would include the smallest piece, which is 1/8. And this is going to represent shorter activities like eating, chores, stuff like that. So here I highlight that 2/8 equals 1/4. This is a natural opportunity to introduce equivalence in a hands-on way. During the lesson, I might ask something like, if I combine two of these eighth pieces, what new fraction would I make? These questions are going to guide students towards reasoning and pattern recognition, supporting SMP 7, which is noticing structure. Once the circle is complete, we will guide a reflection. So maybe questions like, which part of the day takes the most time? Which one takes the least? What happens if we change one part? Does the whole day stay the same? This helps students realize that all the parts together must equal one whole. Just like all fractions together can describe a complete set or quantity. Encouraging students to justify their reasoning connects directly to SMP 3, constructing viable arguments and critiquing reasoning, even in early grades. So to close up this lesson, I would summarize the key teaching points that we discussed. So using fraction circles to make abstract ideas concrete, choose meaningful, relatable context like a 24-hour day to engage students, incorporate rich questioning and think alouds to deepen understanding, and to connect visual models to formal vocabulary, whole, part, numerator, denominator. This approach supports conceptual understanding before moving to computation. I will always end by reminding students that all their fraction pieces should fit together to make one whole, just like all of the parts of our day. Fraction circles are an excellent manipulative for modeling with mathematics and for helping students reason about quantities. By the end of this activity, students are able to see fractions not just as numbers, but as real parts of their world. Thank you for watching this demonstration on teaching fractions with fraction circles. I hope you can use this lesson idea to bring fractions to life in your classroom.